Bill Clinton 420 recognized another member, Reagan, as the third highest upvoted person on the entire website of Reddit. But Reagan. Before I started this channel, I was very active on a website called Reddit.
Ew! You must be from Reddit. Ugh! I can smell you from here.
And by very active, I was ranked number 3 on the website's leaderboard, out of 10 million people. Today I am going to explain why this happened, and how I have reached that position. This is going to be a very schizophrenic story, possibly the most schizophrenic video I have ever made. I quit doing this stuff 2 years ago. I no longer care about it, so that's why I'm making a video on it. But to understand why I obtained 33 million Reddit karma, I must start at the beginning, and tell the whole story. It all started in 2018, when I joined the English internet for the first time. Since I was just a small Italian kid, I had no idea of what was going on in the English internet. It was around this time that I found a website called Reddit. During this time, I have made 2 accounts on this website, but I have deleted them or lost the password. It was only in November 2018 that I started my final account, called Regin24. I started by posting random autistic garbage in various corners of the web. While I was browsing this website, I found that people were assigned a score called karma. This number would increase by how many votes you would get on your posts. I didn't really care about it at first, but then I found out that there was a leaderboard. So, as a Sigma competitive male, I started grinding. By March of 2019, I have obtained a total of 3,000 points by spamming autistic stuff on several corners of the internet. All of this stuff makes me cringe when looking at it 5 years later. But I was only 12 years old. But my breakthrough happened on March 23, 2019. On that day I posted something incredibly cringe. But I got lucky, and I gained a total of 7,000 points from that single post. This post was also seen by famous Swedish YouTuber PewDiePie. The following day, I woke up and got a message that I had been accepted into the Eternity Club. Well, what kind of bullshit is that? It is a private group for people that have posted one of the top 25 posts of the day. By joining the Discord server, I entered what is possibly the worst space on the entire internet. The Eternity Club is just one of the groups created for what they call elite Redditors. There's also the Century Club, for those who reach 100,000 points, and the Mega Club, for 1 million. All of the participants are mostly 30-year-olds that have nothing to do with their lives, and really like to argue politics, so I decided to leave the group and continue alone. Then I got banned, because I told other people that I have made it onto the Eternity Club. And obviously, the club moderators were scouting the entire internet for mentions of their club. If you mention the existence of it, you get banned. In April 2019, I started grinding. I was posting more autistic stuff into more corners of the internet. Soon enough, I reached 20,000, and then 30,000, and then eventually 50,000. I set my sights on getting into the Century Club. This required getting 100,000 points. For the next 6 months, my entire life would be changed to achieve this goal. The Century Club looked really intimidating. It was kind of an urban legend on Reddit.
If you can see this, you are among the baitest motherfuckers on Reddit.
You need a person to vet you for meeting requirements. It's a fun, tight little group, so we try to be careful of who we let in to reduce drama. We seriously have a whole wiki dedicated to drama. Most of the biggest players on Reddit have some level of access to CC, and it's fun watching them all play.
Top players, baitest motherfuckers. Now I really wanted to get in to see what the fuck was there. There were actual guides on how to gain points as fast as possible, and even an entire speedrunning community. If an autistic child sees a locked door, he will try for 6 months to get in. First of all, the rate of production would need to be increased. At this point I didn't really have a strategy. Around October of 2019, I made a Google spreadsheet and I updated it every day. I set myself a target of gaining 1,000 points per day, but I realized that posting stuff that I made myself was too much effort. I went on other Reddit groups for memes, then steal the images, and then repost them. I also invented another strategy. I noticed that an out girl in my class was posting stuff about phones being bad, and that people should stop being on their phones and start reading books, which is kind of ironic, because she spent several hours a day on her iPhone 18 Pro Max to post 30 images a day. Obviously, I would download these images, translate the text to English, and post them on Reddit later. By November of 2019, I was getting quite close to 100,000, with a score of about 93,000. But I got banned for 3 days because I told a furry to kill himself, and thankfully, the ban only lasted 3 days. So on November 9, 2019, I opened my phone after a short day of school on Saturday. I remember being in the car and getting back home, when I got the notification for 100,000 points, but it turns out that you needed 100,000 points of one type instead of 100,000 combined points. Let me explain. You can gain points from posts and comments, and at that point, my 100,000 total karma was divided into 83,000 post karma, and 17,000 comment karma. But I needed 100,000 post karma to enter the club, but that's nothing that a few weeks of grinding can't fix. And then I got in. After almost a year, I was finally considered a top player. And now, let's see what this century bullshit is all about.
You got 120,000 combined, and it's mostly post karma.
He's got all of these sick posts pinned on his user page too. I remember when my mom put my schoolwork on the fridge when I did good.
This was the worst disappointment of my entire life. I made an introduction post and I was called a peasant because I gained my 100,000 by posting stuff, instead of commenting. And I had no idea what they were talking about. They were 35-year-old Americans, and I was a 13-year-old Italian. They were talking about references from the 90s and I had no idea what they were, and for some reason, a man called Donald Trump was also mentioned a lot, so at that point I quit. During 2020, I focused on trying to complete another highly difficult challenge, which is Minecraft's Greg Tech New Horizons, but I got bored of it, so I went back to Reddit. In 2020, I had much more free time to kill than in 2019, because of the Great Chinese Accident, which made me stuck at home for almost 2 years. And this time, I set my sights on a much bigger objective. 100,000 points was not enough. It placed me just barely in the top 1% of players. I attempted to get 1 million, but if obtaining 100,000 points was quite easy, obtaining 1 million points in less than 6 years is going to take a bit of strategy. I searched the internet for guides, and calculated that the best posting time is approximately 1:30 p.m. in Europe, which is 7:30 a.m. in America. Now I just had to find what to post, so I literally messaged the #1 player, Gallo Boob, with a score of 36 million. He surely knew better than me, and for some reason, he told me his secret. I had to go to an Instagram page and download the posts. Then, I'd have to upload them on this page, called Next Freaking Level. And it worked. The points kept flowing into my account. It took almost a year for me to reach 100,000, and another half a year for 200,000, but it only took 6 days for me to reach 300,000. I used a website called Imager to get images that can be easily reposted to Reddit in a quick way. I downloaded an image, post it, and repeat. I joined the Reddit clubs again, and this time, I didn't get banned. I noticed that they had some kind of achievement board for completing different tasks on Reddit, like getting the best post of the day, or getting a Turnian, a Reddit award that costs $125. And over the next 6 weeks, I would get them all. I gained a bit of a following on the community, for being extremely fucking fast. I even got some rich guy to gift me $175 worth of Reddit awards for the achievement. But some people didn't really like me. I spent all day on Reddit, and I was surpassing their puny scores in a matter of days. One of my enemies on that server was a 28-year-old Canadian woman who used My Little Pony to teach mathematics to people. But on September 19, 2020, I reached 1 million points. After only 47 days of grinding, I wasn't setting a world record yet, but it was still quite fast. Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, the actor, replied to my post, but I referred to him as a famous bodybuilder because I had no idea of who he was. I have never watched a movie by that point, as I thought they were for normies. After reaching the million, I was missing 2 achievements. One was entering the random club, which had a 1 in 300,000 chance of happening. Another one was the Apex Collective. There was no information on how to get into the Apex Collective. You had to message the owner and pray that you get accepted. And the owner was looking for 25 to 35-year-old Americans who liked death metal. I was not one of them, but entering this secret server was actually really easy. I messaged the owner once and I somehow got in. On the first try, I had completed the Reddit 100% all achievements speedrun. So I took a break again. But this break did not last long, because something was happening in America. Donald Trump and Joe Biden were running for president. I knew nothing about American politics, but I knew that Donald Trump was the #1 most hated thing on Reddit. So I started posting about Donald Trump. I went on a famous image hosting site called Imager, and searched for Donald Trump. I then reposted the pictures on Reddit. In just a couple hours, every post got nearly 50,000 likes. I broke the system. The people of Reddit really like to not go outside and see the same opinions every day. That's why they really like these posts. They're just the same shit, but said in different ways. Some people here have opinions that make absolutely zero sense in reality. For example, Elon Musk has a $300 billion net worth. That is a lot of money, but Redditors think that he has a magic bank account with $300 billion on it, and he can just buy food to solve world hunger with it. The $300 billion figure is actually the values of all his companies, like Twitter, or Tesla, or even Neuralink. Soon enough, I would start learning about other American political figures. Ron DeSantis, George Bush, Rudy Giuliani, Ted Cruz, and blah blah blah. Some posts did really well, but some were hated. I figured out which guys were bad and which ones were good to optimize my score, and by the end of 2020, I was over 2 million. Up until this point, I was doing this stuff mostly solo. There weren't other people helping me, but all of that changed when some Indian guy made a Discord server for all top players to talk in. This server was called Redditors United.
Dude, you must be from Reddit. Ugh, I can smell you from here.
I met up with several people that I considered idols because of their huge scores, like this guy, who has 12 million, and that guy with even more millions. I exchanged strategies with them so I could be even faster, but they weren't idols. They were mostly 16-year-old Indians with way too much free time, just like me. And at the beginning of 2021, I wanted to go back into the real grind again. I wanted to see what would happen if my karma's exponent in scientific notation was increased by 1. So I began trying for 10 million. I simply changed my strategy by posting 100 times per day instead of just 25. I had one round of 30 posts at 1 p.m., another round at 6 p.m., and another round at 11 p.m., just before going to sleep. Time was not a problem, because I had online school, and I could simply keep Google Meet open on another tab while spamming on Reddit. I also made a new Google spreadsheet tracking my progress every day. I aimed for about 30,000 points every day, or 1 million every month. This would place me at 10 million by July. I got quite sad if I didn't complete my karma quota for the day, because it felt like I didn't do enough. This strategy was very time-consuming. Each round of 30 posts took about an hour to complete, so I was losing at least 3 to 4 hours every day. Soon enough I beat the best score from my country with 3 million. By my 14th birthday I had reached 5 million. I learned the entire subject of statistics so I could make graphs like these. In this period, not much happened, aside from me clicking the Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V keys for a long time. I got really good at it. At some points I had an average of 90,000 points per day, which was never been done before for such a long time, but it was kind of peaceful. I reached a trance-like state. Every day was just spent thinking about how many points I got, and how much was left until I reached 10 million. I completely tuned out of school. I had no friends, just this number that I was proud of. I had become one with the karma, and the karma has turned into me. At no point I would take a break, or switch out the posting strategy to something easier. I reached 10 million points on May 8, 2021, after 5 months of grinding with no breaks. But now I realized that my life was mathematically screwed. I took a math test after not going to school for a year because of COVID, and I failed by getting exactly one of the questions right, which, ironically, was the one about statistics. I had no idea what an X was, or what equations do. I decided to take a break and spend the next 3 months grinding algebra instead of Reddit. This was incredibly painful. But in August, I came back, armed with the new knowledge of the quadratic formula. I looked at the leaderboards, and I wanted to see just how far I could push. 10 million points placed me in the global top 20, but I wanted to be first. How long would it take? The target to hit was 38 million points set by CheetahSperm18, a porn-addicted American man who posted naked anime girls every day for 5 years. I hated anime. So I started grinding. I marched over the field of Indian bots by getting 100,000 points per day. But something went wrong almost immediately. Some guy got suspicious about me, and ran my account through a script. Then he saw that I posted at almost exactly the same time every day, so I was identified as a bot. I grinded so hard, I became ChatGPT-10. This is the first time this has happened to a human. I got banned from the bot defense system. My account was marked as purged. This made me unable to post in about 3,000 groups. At first I panicked and thought that the entire project was over, and I just lost over a year of work, but I just kept progressing at a slower pace. And nothing much happened for the rest of 2021. I continued spamming Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V for another few months. I reached 15 million, then 20 million, and finally, 25 million. By this point, I couldn't stay home all day, so I had to change my schedule up a bit. I would run home from school, which ended at 1 p.m. I then spent the next hour at my computer, spamming Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V at high speed. During this period, I got reported and banned twice, but it was just a false alarm. I continued to work. I was excited to finally finish this project sometime in mid-2022, so I could have so much free time. I was more efficient, so I only spent 4 hours on the website instead of 6. The start of 2022 was great for Reddit, because a man in Russia called Vladimir Putin decided to begin a special military operation in Ukraine. I quickly managed to make something up. I grabbed the latest post from Ukrainian President Zelensky, and posted it. This turned into one of the most liked posts on the website, with 250,000 votes. And thousands of people spent thousands of dollars wasting money on Reddit awards for that post, instead of using that money for something else. But after that, I began to notice that my posts were slowing down. I was only gaining 60,000 points per day, so I decided to take a break. I was banned from about half of Reddit so far. I was also getting suspended from the entire website for a few hours at a time, seemingly for no reason. So I decided to take a break for 3 months until June. I was kind of sick of this, and grinding Reddit for 6 hours while also grinding school for another 12 hours was starting to get annoying.
Dear Regin, I love you and I am here for you always. Everything will be okay. In case no one else has told you, you are doing great. I believe in you. I am proud of you. You got this. Don't quit yet. The worst moments are usually followed by beautiful and better days. I promise. You just have to stay strong. Keep your head up. Remain hopeful. I am always here, even if I don't respond right away. Love you.
Now, at 30 million points, it was time for the final few months of grind to reach the finish. Only 94 days left to go, said the Google Docs, but when I returned, I saw that people have far surpassed me in speed. One user, called Blocks, managed to post 500 times per day. On a phone, he made a list of what groups he posted in. He posted in about 300 groups every day, and he set the record for the most points gained in one day. And just like any other Greg Tech player, I wanted to automate this process, so I learned the Python programming language, and quite literally, made a bot. This bot would scout the internet for any images that I need, and automatically load the pages in Chrome. All I had to do was copy the title, copy the image, and press submit. I would do 2 posts on 60 groups per round, 3 rounds a day, for a total of 360 posts a day. This made it possible for me to make a post in less than 10 seconds. My goal would be reached in about 6 weeks, by grinding 200,000 points per day. I became hooked. I thought I broke some kind of speed limit, and this was against the rules. No one really has gone this fast before. And I was right. Blocks got a very angry letter of several hundred words from an important moderator, who never leaves his house, about how he's ruining Reddit. I had autism, but this guy had schizophrenia.
What you do on Reddit is causing and exacerbating depression, anxiety, social breakdown, and political unrest. That is not hyperbole or exaggeration, nor is it a case of taking things too seriously. You are doing that. This is not something with which you agree or disagree. It is something which you either understand or do not. When you play your game, you are hurting people. You're hurting Reddit. You're hurting the internet. You're hurting the offline world. Worst of all, you're causing all of that harm in exchange for some imaginary points, because you don't care about anything other than seeing that stupid number go up.
Lads and gents, boys and girls, in this video was shown the last stage of chronic basement dwelling displayed by several patients. At this late stage, even sunlight sneaking through the gaps of sunblock could cause severe physical and or mental deterioration. Touching grass or even breathing fresh air could be lethal. The few things these patients excel in is repelling people around them in a wide radius by forgetting the existence of warm water and body wash over an extended period of time, making high costs of electricity bills and consuming Mountain Dew and literally all kinds of junk they find that are just meekly hitting the lowest criteria of edibility. But on July 9, I received a message from someone that wanted to see behind the scenes. I explained to him that I was doing all of this stuff manually, spending hours of my free time every day, and he complimented me, but he actually reported me to admins. And on July 12th, as I got ready to grind, I got an error and couldn't access the website. This continued for about a day, and then I got banned, with no way of getting back. I asked people, and they said that someone very high up in the company banned me. I made a big chunk of very important people mad by making a number go up very fast, and so this schizophrenic story ends just as stupidly as it started. Most of the other top players, like Blocks, got banned within a few days too. I was now free to go outside and touch grass, unless I started another, even more stupid grind. Thank you for watching.